This week on the Southern Fried Philosophy podcast, we'll discuss Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg decision, hot dog, is it a sandwich? We'll also talk about the Mandela Effect, and we have special guest Lisa Crouch. Who's that, you ask? You'll have to tune in to find out. All that and more on this week's episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy podcast. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy podcast, where two guys take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, and you, the listener, are getting a degree in common sense. We are broadcasting from the Busted Knuckles studio right here in beautiful downtown historic Concord, North Carolina. I'll be your host, Biggin, and how about you? We've got a great show lined up for you as always, but before we begin, let me introduce you to the second half of this flaky biscuit. That's right, I'm talking about the pride of Anderson, South Carolina, but most of you probably know him best as the Silver Tongue one, 2016's honorable mention Father of the Year, the inventor of the redneck egg roll. Give it up on old mic number one, it's Mojo!
What's up, chumps? Thanks for tuning back into the Southern Fried Philosophy podcast. You can go to our iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Just put in the search there, Southern Fried Philosophy. You'll find us right there. Please subscribe. You can also go to Facebook and check us out there at Southern Fried Philosophy. You can go to our very inactive Twitter feed at SFP Radio. Also, our Instagram feed, which is...
Instagram's got a little bit more life to it than Twitter.
That's because you handle it at SFP Radio. You can also check us out at youtube.com/SFP Radio.
That's also non-existent. Like, it's there, but ain't nobody watching.
Well, we're going. Well, we just haven't promoted it.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably need to do that. We probably need to do some live feeds.
That'd be a good idea.
I think we need
there
to do
you go.
that. We probably should have done the Lent on there.
Lent on YouTube.
Yeah. Also, by the way, we've almost completed the 40 days of Lent, Southern Fried Lent.
By the time you read this, it should be all over.
Yeah, actually true. When the episode comes out, it'll be over with.
Yeah,
Jesus died and rose again. So
hallelujah!
But it's been a great experience, and we'll probably have a recap next week of our personal experiences.
That'd be good.
So I think that should be interesting. So let's go.
Also, too, if you ever have a desire to sit and check out us doing the podcast, which I don't know why you would, but some people would. We've got some beautiful leather couches. I mean, great seats.
I think they're pleather.
Well, I was trying to be nice. Our podcast studio also, some of you may or may not know this, also doubles as a quote nap room. So I mean, that's a good place
I've heard that.
to do that. So, but if you want to come check out the show, email us at sfpradio@gmail.com, and we will get you some smoking hot from Bad Mother Smoker, smoking hot seats here at the Busted Knuckle studio. So there we go. I'm going to ask you like I ask you every week, Mojo, how you be doing?
Brother, I'm good, but since we had to skip last week, so what's burning my biscuits? I know I've been on a roll here lately, but
bring it.
Women.
Oh no!
Do they actually know what they want to eat?
No, they don't.
I know that's sexist in today's society, but I can't figure it out. Like, how does my wife, when she's with her girlfriends, how do they decide what they want to eat?
That's a great question.
That has always bothered me,
and it's never been like an issue where they're just like, oh yeah. I mean, everybody's like, hey, let's just go to Olive Garden. And I'm like, okay, that's a great idea. So everybody goes to Olive Garden.
My wife, I'm telling you.
But if you
just choose a place, I'll choose a place. I don't like that one. Or I'm cooking at home.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't like that place. Let's go somewhere
exactly.
else.
Or I'm cooking at home. I'm thinking about doing chicken piccata tonight. Well, I don't want chicken piccata tonight. Well, you just told me to make something up, so I did it. I don't understand it. And my daughters are the exact same way, except for my little one. It's macaroni or grilled cheese every night, so she's pretty easy. But
how about this? You make your wife grilled cheese and chicken nuggets and just be like, there you go.
Well, I guess if I could find some keto-friendly bread.
Oh, yeah, there's that piece.
But no, it's, God almighty. I've been working so much that we've had to eat out a few times, and it's... That's the last thing I want to do is decide for her. I mean, she's like, what do you want? I'm like, I'm pretty simple. I can go for a burger, Mexican. You know, I don't want that tonight. We had that last night. Well, no, we didn't, but okay.
No, we didn't.
So I don't, anyway, my wife's getting ready to go to New York in a couple weeks.
Oh, wow.
Or actually a couple months. So I'm really worried for her. I don't know if I need to like Yelp some restaurants and go and pick them for her, like do her meal schedule. Because I don't know if she's going to come back famished or like,
You don't know.
Third world hungry? I don't know. So I'm kind of worried about her. Being in New York, I mean, there's not many restaurants there, I guess. So,
Of course, there's not.
But yeah.
And there's no options. It's just you'll get one thing.
Goulash or borscht. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Oats.
I'm kind of worried about her. So I don't know.
Listen, there was a place close to Central Park it was a Thai restaurant that had the best peanut noodle sauce. It was the greatest thing I've ever ate in my life. If she could just bring some back for me, that would be fantastic.
I'll put an order in for you. I'll just tell her to go walk around Central Park.
Yeah, it's the restaurant really close to Central Park.
There you go.
I mean, same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no options.
Right,
so
right.
There's got to be
I'll put in the order for you. I mean, because it sounds good. But yeah, I'm really worried about her there. It also brings up an interesting question. So if you have a same-sex couple, women, who decides about the date there?
I don't know.
I know that's probably not PC in today's culture, but these are the kind of thoughts that go through my head while I'm sitting in line at a drive-thru at 9 o'clock at night because she finally argued enough to where she's like, all right, I'll take this.
Golly.
So what does a same-sex couple do on a date? Do they argue and then like if they make it through the argument, they stay together? These are the random thoughts in my head.
I feel like there needs to be just an app where it's like a spinny wheel that you just spin it, and then whatever it lands on, you just deal with it.
Well, actually, there is an app called Urban Spoon.
Okay.
That does that.
Oh.
But we tried that, and my wife's like, I don't want that. So we had to spin it again. And like 5 spins later, we're back on the first spin, and she's like, okay, I'll take that.
Have you tried Maj's trick?
I've tried that. Did not work.
Did not at all work.
Not on her. I don't know if she has like super...
Maybe she listened to the one podcast.
Yeah,
she listened to.
Maybe her telepathic powers or something. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. So how you be doing?
Well, I think you mentioned before we hit the record button that it is officially for both of us March Sadness.
Oh, geez. What a devastating March Madness for us.
Wow. Hey, buddy. Once Loyola went in, and then I thought that Kentucky was going to play Kansas State. Or they did play Kansas State in Atlanta. We bought tickets. We got the hotel room. We were ready to go. We thought we're clearly going to the Final Four because we could beat Loyola. I mean,
who are they?
Who can't? And you know the story, but at 11:57, because that game took forever because there was like 400 fouls. I'm exaggerating on 400, but I'm not kidding. At least 50,
right?
Because it was taking so long. At 11:57, my wife hit cancel on the hotel room, so we didn't get charged. Thank goodness she did that. And then a few minutes later, we realized that Kentucky lost. So now I am in sackcloths and ashes.
Yes,
and weeping and gnashings of teeth.
Yeah, and then Duke, we got pawned out. Yeah.
One more step than we did.
But still, though, we went out like chumps. I mean, we had the game. We had the game, but we gave it to them.
That shot that Grayson Allen always makes.
Yep. But to be honest with you, if we would have capitalized off of their turnovers, they had I think we had like 9 turnovers or 10, something like that, and I think they had like 24.
Yeah, they had a ton of turnovers.
If we would have just capitalized on a third of those, I think we'd been all right. But
yeah.
Nope. So
the end of Grayson Allen.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that are happy to see him gone.
I'll admit I am one of them.
I'm neither here nor there. All I know is Zion Williamson.
Yo.
I don't know if you've seen the highlight reel with him at the McDonald's.
He should be a Kentucky player. I'm telling you,
he is a beast.
He is a man.
I don't know why he didn't. Did they change the college rule? You can't go from high school to or the NBA. We can't go from high school to NBA. Did they change that?
I don't think they did.
But he's probably NBA ready.
Yeah.
I mean,
dude is a hoss.
Yeah, he's big. Comes from my home state too.
There was a coaching change, I think, for Duke, right? One of your recruiters went to Penn State, I think.
That's all right.
But he hasn't signed, so we still could.
No Zion?
I think with a coaching change, he can.
Okay.
I think
all I know is when Duke walks into a school and looking at players, all the recruiter has to do is on the table and.
I don't know what that meant. Oh, I get it. He has to put the money on the table.
No, that's Kentucky. No, that's Louisville.
No. Louisville puts the strippers on the table, makes the strippers get on the table.
So they put the money on the tables for the strippers, and then the stripper. I got you. That's how it works. But no, it's luckily we have a good season upcoming.
Oh my gosh! So, now you've got correct me if I'm wrong. You got 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Five. I thought
Is it 5?
I thought it was 1, 2, 3, 5. I thought.
Which has never been done.
No. Well, the Fab Five Michigan back in the '90s was a pretty up there. I mean, those guys were top. So,
yeah.
But yeah, this is going to be a good recruiting class for this upcoming 2018-19 season. But you know what? You can have the best players, but if they don't play as a team,
yeah. Which, let me ask you this question. Coach K, like he's had a couple seasons now with the one and dones. Is he coaching them as good as you think that he should be coaching them? Like, is he developing them like you think that they should cohesively?
I think he tries, but I think you have so many individual personalities there. I mean, Coach K has been successful. I mean, he's like your guys. I mean, just he. You go back to the 2016-17 season, it was top stars. We had a top recruiting class again, but they played horrible as a team. They had like maybe a 5-game stretch where they played as a team, then everything else just kind of went individualistic. So this year they played better, cohesive. They just didn't know how to get things done. I mean, but that's the problem with the one and done teams is that you have no seniority, you have no time to grow as a team, things like that. I understand why they want to get in and get out, but I mean, in fact, Coach K was probably late to the game with the one and done. Kentucky was way ahead of that.
Yeah.
So Coach K, it took a little time for him to get to the one and dones, but now that he's done it, he's fully embraced these guys. So
I don't know, man. I'm going to argue that I think Cal does it much better than K.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that.
But if you look at the NBA, and he preps them for the NBA a lot better. I mean, we've got over $1 billion in the NBA of Kentucky players, and I mean, they're doing a really good job. I understand. Like, I think Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, Kentucky, top tier programs. If anybody that like a Zion Williamson that goes to any other college, like, you kind of got to wonder, like, why are they doing that? Because these other schools develop them for the NBA. I don't know.
It could have been, like I said, it could have been a symptom like the Fab Five back in the '90s, where these guys go, you know what, you're playing there, I'm going to play there. Yeah. So it could have been that Me Too hashtag Me Too.
But you look at Michael Porter at Missouri; he's the only good player that's on that team. So you're like, why? And there was a connection there to his family. So I maybe give him that, but. And Ben Simmons, I think, a couple of years ago.
But, if you look at the one and dones across the country, I mean, a lot of these guys just have flopped out of the NBA.
Yeah,
or they're riding the bench, or they just haven't produced. I mean, there's quite a few out there. I mean, Duke's had some number one players in the top 10 that one and done, and then just that fizzled out. Now they're playing in European leagues or Chinese leagues or whatever. So, I mean, Kentucky has been more successful at that. And,
but you know what's interesting, though? This is the year where Cal isn't going to keep a lot of his guys. He's going to have maybe 2 or 3 leave, but then a lot of his other guys are going to stick around. So maybe the one and done era is slowly starting to fade out.
I hope so. I get tired of that.
I agree with you on that.
I mean,
I agree.
There's nothing like 90s ACC, SEC basketball. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to establish, like, I mean, as a kid, I can remember the weights and the heights of the players. I mean, just you almost like following a professional sports team. Yeah. And with these one and dones, a lot of times I don't want to learn their names. Yeah. I mean, just recognize their number and go from there. I mean, so I was. With the controversy of Grayson Tripp and Allen, but it was kind of nice to see him stay for 4 years. Yeah. Do I think he's an NBA prospect? He'll probably I'm sure he'll get drafted, but will he be there long term? Probably not.
Second round and go to the D League. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I will say this, that it doesn't hurt nearly as much as Wisconsin, the 2015 year. Like, anything now can happen. And I'm like, at least it's not Wisconsin. So
but that would hurt. Since my team's out, I'm pulling for Loyola.
Yeah, I am too.
With a nurse or nun Betty or whatever her name is.
Sister Jean. Sister Jean. How about it?
So yeah, she's been interesting to watch. So
speaking of old ladies, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
God, she is old.
She's like 1,000.
How many State of the Unions has she actually slept through? I mean, quite a few.
I think she had a thing with Roosevelt, but who knows?
Or a thing with Abraham Lincoln, probably. Yeah. She's old.
She was on Conan. I think not Conan. It was Colbert.
Okay.
And Colbert asked her, as a Supreme Court justice, make a ruling. Hot dog, is it a sandwich? And so that's our podcast question of the week. And I ask you, what say you, sir? She ruled that it was a sandwich. The definition of a sandwich is two pieces of bread with a meat and or filling in the middle, and that is served as a light meal. So what say you, a hot dog?
I say that we probably need to go back and look at all her votes since she was put in as a Supreme Court justice and probably question every one of them now. Because even by that definition of two pieces of bread, hot dog's a singular piece of bread.
But what happens, though, here, let me ask you this. If you bite the hot dog and the one end that's attached now comes undone.
Comes unhinged.
Is it then a sandwich?
No, it's still not, because you started with, but is a taco a sandwich?
There's the question.
Is a quesadilla a sandwich?
By a definition, you would have to say a quesadilla is a sandwich. But you would have to say, though, that a hot dog is a taco.
You just blew my mind.
How about it?
So technically, a cookie sandwich is actually a sandwich. An Oreo is actually a sandwich.
You're right.
No, but
it's a sandwich cookie.
I think I still can't go with it. I understand, but I just cannot go with it as a sandwich. It makes sense, but I don't think it's a sandwich.
I can't.
Now, hot dogs can be used on a sandwich. I mean,
you're right about that.
In the South here, you split them in half and fry them up and throw them between two pieces of white bread with a little mayonnaise, and that's your poor man's bologna. So that can be made as a sandwich.
But then you also have to ask this question: what happens if you get a regular piece of bread, just a normal piece of bread, and then put your luncheon meat and cheese and you fold it over? Then is that still a sandwich?
Well, what if you take that same piece of bread and then put a hot dog in it and roll it up?
Yeah.
That's what we had to do on Tuesday nights when Mom and Dad didn't get paid till Friday, and roll. And
you had to use the heel.
Oh, I hated the heel. I hated the heel.
But that brings up an interesting point. Like, is that then a sandwich? Then, I mean, you can do a fold over sandwich.
I think we'd have to go back to the 1700s when the Earl of Sandwich, England,
right,
and find his definition of a sandwich.
I mean, these are hot topics here in the U.S.
So is a corn dog a sandwich?
No, it's not between any
between
meat.
Bread?
No, it's surrounded by bread.
See, there we're arguing semantics.
Deep fried.
Is a Hot Pocket a sandwich?
Yeah, you would have to say it's a sandwich. But a Hot Pocket is also around. So so that would be a wrap. There you go. A wrap.
This is the problem with liberal America. They're trying to change everything. Why can't we just have a simple sandwich be a sandwich? So
Oh, all right. So here we go. Here's some wacky news for us.
Ooh, baby, it's making me crazy. It's making me crazy. Every time I look around, it's in my face.
All right. So I do have an update to one of the stories that we had earlier. If you remember last week, we talked about dogs having the worst week ever, and one of them was fed to a snapping turtle. But you ask, well, what has happened to said snapping turtle? Because we know what happened to the puppy. The turtle has been euthanized now. The Ohio officials euthanized the snapping turtle Friday days after a biology teacher allegedly fed the sick puppy to the animal in front of students in his class. Now, that was a different story that we had earlier. Before we heard that the students were not in class. Now, evidently, the students were in class, which that throws everything out of the loop. But the snapping turtle, which deemed an invasive species by the Idaho Department of Agriculture, was seized amid the investigation and was euthanized. So is that fair to the turtle?
I wonder how old this turtle actually was, because it had to be a pretty big turtle to eat a puppy.
Yeah. Well,
so I mean,
I think here's a picture of it. So it's not that big of a turtle. It doesn't look like.
Huh. I wonder if that's the actual. Is that the one?
Yeah, I don't know. A snapping turtle seen in this 2009 photo. All right, so USA Today, you can't get a better picture of a snapping turtle versus a 2009 photo.
Yeah. Let's just say the turtle was 80 years old,
Right.
Because I think it was pretty big, but so it lived its whole life. Ended up in a classroom, and then some jerk,
Hey, careful.
some jackleg fed the puppy to this turtle, and then we're killing an animal or a reptile based off of this idiot's actions.
Right.
I mean,
Who is the PR for that turtle? The PR guy should have came in and be like, listen.
you know what? Under the Constitution, he should have had a right to face his accusers.
You're right.
So, man, what? I don't know. Snapping turtles are not a favorite animal of mine, you know.
no.
But geez, I don't know. Hopefully, the professor, if they're going to charge, of course, that with animal cruelty, they'll probably charge the guy as much as they can. Probably,
Maybe, yeah.
You know how they are, but I don't think it was right. I mean, just like when they have a pit bull, and a pit bull, their pit bull master or whatever sicks them on a person out of maliciousness, and then that pit bulls get put down, and the owner gets to still walk around free.
Right.
So, I don't know. I hate that.
Here's another one. Minnesota teen fails driving test by crashing the car through the front wall of the driving test office. A 17-year-old from Monticello inadvertently put her 2014 Chevy Equinox in drive instead of reverse as the test began about 2 p.m. She stepped on the accelerator, and the vehicle lurched forward, jumped the curb, and plowed through the front of the station. The 60-year-old driver, or 60-year-old woman who was the examiner, was taken to the hospital, treated for non-life-threatening injuries.
She was milking it.
I mean, could you imagine?
Well, I mean, if she wouldn't have been tweeting or if she wouldn't have been taking a selfie, I'm sure she would probably been okay.
Oh, my gosh.
You know she was doing that.
No.
Had to be.
No.
She had to be texting or taking a selfie.
Do you remember taking your driving test? I was nervous.
Dude, I
as
was
all get out.
scared.
Yes.
Yep.
So she wasn't trying to be all cutesy fartsy, artsy fartsy.
And I remember my driving test because I failed it 3 times.
Did you really?
I failed it twice. I'm sorry.
Holy cow! The written or the driving?
I failed the written twice and failed the driving 3 times or twice.
How are you still able to drive a car?
Well, South Carolina,
my gosh.
it was parallel parking. Because in the South, we the need in rural South Carolina, there was no need for parallel parking. I mean, what are you going to do? Park your car in between 2 donkeys or a John Deere? I mean, what are you going to do? So, parallel parking always got me.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, but I remember that test, man. Just the anxiety.
Yes,
the anxiety of that day, rolling in there, sitting in line.
Yes.
Waiting for them to call your number, and then that examiner has the personality of a styrofoam cup.
Yeah.
Comes out, and it's always somebody who is an underachiever in life. It seems like. So.
If they couldn't get that job, what job do you think they would get?
Probably the shredded lettuce man at Taco Bell. I mean, but then again, maybe they're actually good people that just become jaded with all the crap they have to see. I don't know. I should give them the benefit of the doubt, but
could you imagine? She's looking in her rear view though, thinking, "Here we go. I'm ready for my driving test. I've waited 17 years for this moment." And she puts it, in drive or reverse, thinking she's going to go backwards, and she just lurches forward. I mean, she takes out.
She. Did
you see that picture?
Yeah, I did. She didn't just like bump the wall.
No,
I mean, she decided to redecorate it. I guess they meant to put a new breezeway through there.
She
or something.
let her rip like none other. I'm going to let this thing eat. Here we go.
I bet her parents were very proud of her. So.
Listen. I think I know what her future job is going to be. She's going to be the future lettuce person at the Taco Bell, shredded lettuce person at the Taco Bell.
I don't know if I want her making a taco at Taco Bell. Jeez.
Golly. All right, so you have some wacky news?
Yeah, you have my clip, don't you?
All right, yeah. So we're going to...
We cannot verify this if this is a true story or a spoof, but I found it, and it has made me laugh 100 times today.
You love it. All right, so here is... the video. Do you want to bring it up by any?
Basically, it's an alleged intruder in this gentleman's house, and there's supposedly after this alleged trespassing inside the house that they filmed this guy and interviewed him.
All right, so here it is.
Check this out. Intruders caught on camera invading houses. So could something like this happen to you?
Dave Rowe knows all too well how it feels to have his home broken into.
Yeah, and see, that's what the problem was. Because I heard him first. I said, hold on. I said, hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. Because then I start to taste them. I say, and then I start to smell them. So it's like a smell like, tastes like other. So I knew something was wrong. I knew something special about it, you know? So
what did you do when you heard the intruder?
I ran upstairs. I had to run. And I had to do what that little girl, what's that little girl in the Holocaust? She had Anne Hathaway, Frankie Beverly. Ain't Frank, that's a hot bitch, ain't it? I had to get up the stairs. So he had so much rhythm. When he was walking up the stairs, he said, doom, doom, doom. Bitch, I started to almost beatbox up in the closet. Oh, boom, boom, boom. But I couldn't do it yet because I couldn't die. I got caught tomorrow. So I'm just a little shook up. That's all that is.
At least he got out of there and did the right thing.
All right, so
He's
that
a little
was,
shook up.
that was on Good Morning America. I don't know.
We can't verify. I think it may be a spoof, but if whoever made that, if it was a spoof, you did an excellent job. Is all I gotta say.
All right. So here's my last one. There is, guys, listen up. I'm gonna need the guys to pay attention here. In Florida, there was a woman, of course, in Florida, Carol Stone. She's 35. She was arrested on Wednesday by the Pasco Sheriff's Office. I think those folks are on Live PD after allegedly, quote, smacking the victim multiple times, her husband in the head because the husband admittedly forgot their anniversary.
Oh,
guys,
well, I've never done that, to be honest with you, but I could see where that would cause some anxiety for the young lady.
She got arrested because her husband forgot their anniversary. I mean, that's going to be an expensive court cost, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it'd been cheaper just for divorce.
It might have been. Guys, don't forget it. Here's the thing with my wife. Like, I have numbers dyslexia. Like, my 4s and 5s, I get confused. And then for some reason, which makes no sense at all, 8 and 10s. I don't know why, but 8s and 10s confuse me. And her birthday is, 10-8.
Oh, geez, you're screwed.
And so I'm like, wait, no, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Nope, 8-10. See? And so it's 8-10, and I keep thinking it's 10-8.
Well,
And
there's
so
one solution for
I always
that.
get in trouble for that.
One solution for that. You take her ID out of her wallet. You take that to a tattoo parlor and then have them copy that birth date onto your arm. That way you never forget.
Here's the deal. I'm just going to put a Google reminder, and then I'll be okay.
Or if you put the Google reminder in wrong.
Oh, yeah.
You got to think of these fail safes, buddy.
I'm not going to have her entire ID
No, I'm just
tattooed
saying
on
the date, and then I'd put your wedding date. And
See, that one is when I won because I did it on 1/1. So
You can't screw that
I
up.
can't screw that one up. I know for a fact. And we're so tired from the night before, she don't want to do anything. So it's like, happy anniversary, kiss you goodnight, let's go to bed. And that's it. Boom, easy peasy. So, guys, don't forget your wife's anniversary.
Yeah, because you may not even make it out this unscathed. You may get killed. So
I mean, she got arrested for that, man.
now I've messed up an anniversary before, and my wife about hung me. So I've learned my lesson. That was like year 2 in our marriage. So I learned that lesson pretty quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to make that mistake again.
No.
All right. So that was some wacky news brought to you by Webmerized. If you want a clean, crisp, new website, give Webmerized a call, webmerized.com. That is webmerized.com. Check them out today. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the Mandela Effect. And again, we have special guest Lisa Crouch with us coming up. So that is all that and more on the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. We'll be right back. describe how awesome Robert and his team at Webmerized are. In our time of need, Robert came through for us and devoted more time than expected to help our organization develop our new website. It truly is a blessing to have an individual that can speak to the average person not in the IT world in a manner that can easily be understood. The process of working with his team was painless, and I look forward to working with them for future projects. Our website is spectacular, and I'm really proud of what was developed by Webmerized. Thanks. Don't take Stella H's word for it, and also Southern Fried Philosophies, but go out to webmerized.com, WEBMERIZED, or check out the sponsors link on our website. And if you mention the word biggin in your order, you'll get 10% off. Check them out at webmerized.com for your web services needs. All right, we're back, and you're listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy podcast. So, every once in a while, time to time, I will get in a hankering to listen to Coast to Coast, and a hankering is just like you get in a mood.
Yeah, usually if I'm driving after 10 or 11 o'clock at night, like I have a long distance, I'll throw on Coast to Coast. There's also another show called Ground Zero, Clyde Lewis.
Yeah, you're right.
I listen to him a lot too.
The thing with Ground Zero is their intros and their bumpers and everything, they're so stinking long, and he just repeats the same thing 15 times.
Well, he's on for 5 hours.
Well, that's probably
And
why.
the reason why he does that is because he has affiliates to drop off, and the new affiliates come on. So it's like a new show.
That could be it.
So, yes, I've noticed that, and so like I figured out that hour 2, hour 3, you're going to hear the same stuff. But both of the shows do a great job of covering interesting topics that you would never think of. Now,
Never.
Most of it's tinfoil hat stuff, but there's occasional stories on there. You're like, it blows my mind.
Yeah, so my wife will call it the Weirdo Show, which I also call it the Weirdo Show.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing that I love about Coast to Coast. One, George Norrie, I like his voice.
Oh, he has the pinnacle of radio voices.
Yeah.
It is so soothing, but interesting.
The other part is anybody can say anything to this man, and he's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And he actually doesn't laugh at them,
All right.
which you and I think, probably would laugh at 3/4 of his guests.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you remember Art Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Art Bell is another, his voice. I liked his voice. But yeah, George Norrie's voice is like, he's like tucking you into bed with a warm whiskey. I mean, you're just sitting there soothing, get the little warm feeling and going down your throat. I mean, it makes y'all warm and fuzzy.
Until they talk about the demons coming after you and with the Slender Man, and you're like, well, now I'm up.
Yeah, that's where you get along. Like on October, I have to usually turn October off for Ground Zero, because both of those guys go into a lot of the demons and witches, and which is cool topics, but
Right.
a lot of the stuff I think is just
After a while.
But I tell you what, some of the stories I'll have to go back and look it up. But there's some interesting stories. I wouldn't mind having one author on.
Yeah.
But his book's out of print, so they actually have 2 copies on Amazon available, and I think it's like $1,150 for the book.
What?
Yeah, it's like that in-depth research.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so anyway, I'd like to talk to him. But there's some interesting stories, man. But it's crazy.
There's some weirdos. But so while I was listening, I was in the hankering for it, so I started to listen to it. And here's a clip of a guy.
I can't believe you're up that late.
It wasn't. It was on podcast. So there's that.
I didn't know they had a podcast now.
Well, it's not legal. So there's bleep. I mean, you can buy like the subscription thing.
Yeah.
But then there's a podcast thing where it's pirated radio.
Oh, okay.
And they just basically record it.
Gotcha.
And then just put it on the thing. So
I can get with you after the show on that, because I'm not paying attention.
yeah, no doubt. So here is the guy talking about the Mandela Effect. Can you explain the Mandela Effect to?
Yeah, Mandela Effect is like an alternate reality thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the most popular, or the reason why it's named the Mandela Effect is because anybody, I'm age 41, you're just turned 40.
Yep. So
think back to the 90s, and this is not just for our age group, but you think back to our childhood. You think back to the 90s, Nelson Mandela, the estranged, not estranged, but the one of the leaders of the revolution there, basically to end apartheid, was sitting in jail for the civil rights activists there. For a lot of us, we may remember him dying in jail, but a lot of actually the reality is he didn't die in jail. He actually became a leader of South Africa after apartheid. So that's one thing. But there's so many topics. From Sinbad is one of my favorites. Sinbad, I swear to God,
The comedian?
Sinbad the comedian.
Okay.
I could swear that he was a genie in a movie called Shazam.
Oh, yeah.
No, he wasn't.
Was it Shaq?
No, Shaq was in a genie movie, but I can't remember the name of it. But I can swear on my life that I remember seeing Sinbad posters as a genie that said like Shabam or Shazam, I think.
Yeah.
So that's one of them.
All right. So in the clip, the guy kind of talks about some of them. So we're gonna let's listen to the clip and then we'll talk about some more of our others.
Let's talk about the Mr. Rogers theme song. Now, I used to make fun of Mr. Rogers as a kid. You know, I used to hear it every day. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. You know, he would sing that over and over and over again. Do you remember that?
I do. I used to listen to it with my kids. They watched him every day.
If you punch
I guess
up,
I did too then.
If you punch up Mr. Rogers' theme song, he no longer says, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood." He sings, "It is a beautiful day in this neighborhood."
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. I don't remember that.
All right, so I'm going to pause it. Do you remember? I always thought it was a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
That's what I thought too.
But now it's this neighborhood. I never heard this neighborhood.
See, this is where I'm telling you, this will really affect you.
I've got some more. So,
go ahead.
So let's keep going because this is crazy.
I don't either, and it is there. The Snow White movie, the big line out of that where the witch comes up and says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" Remember that?
Yeah.
Now it says "magic mirror on the wall."
I never heard her say that.
Yep, that's what it says now. And the movie Field of Dreams, the big line out of that was...
With Kevin Costner.
Yes, if you build it, they will come.
They will come.
Now it says, if you build it, he will come.
No, they never said that.
Yeah, and the line out of Forrest Gump...
No, that's amazing. So is that what you would call the Mandela Effect for those examples?
It's either the Mandela Effect or there are...
This is where it goes a little crazy.
Involved in a gigantic mind op to try and create, and here's the end game in this. Now let's try to step out.
Oh well, so this is where it goes a little bit, a little nutty, but like legitimately, I thought it was a beautiful day in the neighborhood. If you build it, they will come. Like those are all things that I could have sworn that's what it is.
No doubt. One of my favorite ones is it the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears?
The Bearstein Bears. The Bearstein Bears.
No, it's the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
See, this is mind blowing stuff. How about Chick-fil-A?
CHIC.
Nope.
No.
CHICK. Filet.
No. There's no way. You've got a Chick-fil-A cup.
I just have the logo.
Oh, it's just the logo.
On.
See, where did the K come from?
Exactly.
Where did the K come from?
Darth Vader doesn't say, "Luke, I am your father."
I knew that. I knew that one wasn't it. I can't remember what he said, but it was... all right, so I've got a little a quiz for us. It's a BuzzFeed quiz about the Mandela Effect. So Looney Tunes, TOONS, or Looney Tunes, TUNES?
See, I could have swore like the early ones, I thought it was TUNES.
See, I thought it was TOONS, but it is TUNES. Did you have another one?
Kit Kat, dash or no dash?
Kit Kat does not have a dash.
You're right.
Okay. Oscar Mayer, MEYER, or Oscar Mayer, MAYER?
I just saw this one. It says MAYER.
Yeah, but I always thought it was MEYER.
I do too. I don't remember saying MAY. I thought it was MEY. Oh, whatever. Life isn't like a box of chocolates. Actually, Forrest says life was like a box of chocolates.
Really? Sex and the City. And this is for our lady listeners. Sex and the City or Sex in the City?
So I always thought it was Sex in the City.
I always thought it was Sex in the City, but it's actually Sex and the City.
Hannibal Lecter never said, "Hello, Clarice." That's mind blowing because that is like the most popular line from the movie.
Yes,
that's not in the movie.
How how did we get this so messed up?
I don't think we did mess up. I think it is an alternate reality. There's got to be some Illuminati conspiracy people out there. I mean, there's too many things here. It's the
Berenstain Bears.
I agree.
This Mandela Effect thing. But I mean, what else? What else is? I mean, I can maybe understand like media or movies or whatever, because those can be edited out, and you can be like, oh well, no, it's not. But like, there's other things that.
Yeah, I don't.
Or you're like your Chick-fil-A, like it could be changed.
Yeah,
but
the company maintains it has always been that.
It's always been that way.
The Queen and Snow White never said "mirror, mirror on the wall."
There's magic mirror on the wall. That's what they just said.
Jiffy peanut butter never existed.
No, it still exists now.
It's called Jif, J-I-F. Dude, I'm telling you, it's got to be the Bilderbergers and Illuminati.
Jiffy peanut. It had the blue top on it, didn't it?
Yeah, still does.
Seriously,
I think it was blue.
No.
They do have a green one, which is reduced fat.
Jif isn't that the red top?
I think they have red, blue, green for different like crunchy, reduced fat.
Reduced sodium.
But yeah,
I know there was a Jiffy peanut butter.
Spell Fruit Loops.
Fruitloops.
F-R-U.
Whoa, careful.
F-R-U-I-T, right?
Fruit.
Nope, F-R-O-O-T.
No, there's no way that's right. Fruit Loops is Fruit.
Teaching our kids how to spell fruit the wrong way for over 60 years.
Guys, there's got to be something to this. Like it's a weirdo show. I understand Coast to Coast. Like they talk about their Bigfoots going like all crazy and like
this thing was 10 foot tall.
Sorry about that.
He had beautiful hair.
Yeah, he did. But like, I understand it's a crazy show, but there's got to be something to this thing. Like, it freaks me out. It really kind of freaks me out, to be honest.
It does. There's more than this. This is just a short list. You know the Monopoly man, rich Uncle Pennybags.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people think he has a monocle. Doesn't have a monocle. Just little
really?
things like that.
What are you going to tell me next? Like the Planters Peanut Man didn't have a monocle? Because I know for certain that man did.
I would think so. And also, We Are the Champions it ends differently than we recall. What do you think the last line?
I have no idea.
Well, a lot of people think it's of the world. We are the champions of the world. It actually doesn't say that. It just ends at We Are the Champions.
No, of the world. Are you kidding me?
There is no of the world as that song ends. Dude, I'm telling you, it either we've shifted into a multiverse.
Well, there's times where I wake up and I feel like that's
it could have
been.
You know what? It could have been the fluoride mouthwash that we drank or we had to swish around in elementary school.
Oh no! No, you don't drink fluoride because there's reasons.
I filtered out, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I use fluoride toothpaste, but
yeah,
but because the other stuff that don't have fluoride in it, just it feels like trying to brush your teeth with Vaseline.
Oh my gosh! So do you have any other Mandela Effect type things?
Not off the top of my head. This is the other one, like Curious George, had a tail or no tail.
Curious George did not have a tail.
Well, see, I thought he always did until I started watching Curious George with my 5-year-old, a couple of years back. But all I know is I'm blown away by Chick-fil-A. I even went by today and had dinner there, and I still thought I had just CHIC.
Did you ask them?
I'm going to go ask them tonight before they close. I demand to see a manager.
Listen, I almost kind of want to call them to see.
CP30 isn't all gold.
No, he is.
No, he's not.
What?
He has a silver leg the whole time.
No. Why? Who is doing this
I'm telling
to
you
us?
right now, I had in 1981, 82, when Star Wars was still big, I had the Millennial Falcon. I had most of the guys, and my CP30
never had a silver leg.
Never had a silver leg. It's conspiracy. Telling you.
Like the new ones or the old ones had a silver leg?
I don't know. It just says that a lot of the memorabilia now has the silver leg, or the memorabilia from our childhood doesn't. It's all gold.
Oh, see there? Mm-hmm. We're gonna go down a rabbit hole that people aren't gonna appreciate.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. I'm telling you.
All right, so we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we have Lisa Crouch, who's going to be our special guest, and what a special guest she is. So we'll be back. You're listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. Holy cow, you're right, it doesn't. Summer is made for grilling and chilling, and you too can be the baddest mother smoker on the block using our favorite award-winning smoking sauce. Bad Mother Smokers is perfect match for that favorite meat, veggies, or even that secret ingredient in a pot of chili. Check out badmothersmokers.com to place your order, and if you want to be a barbecue pitmaster like Mojo, enter the promo code MOJO for 10% off your order. Visit badmothersmokers.com or the sponsor section of our website at southernfriedphilosophy.com.
Unchain my heart, baby, let me be. Unchain my heart, cause you don't care about me. Why lead me through a life of misery when you don't care about a beat for me? So unchain my heart, oh please, set me free.
Welcome back to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. On the line today, we have our special guest, Lisa Crouch. Now, let me give you a little brief history on this. This is not just some other woman that we have on the podcast talking about subjects that, whatever, may shake your fancy, but she is actually the donor or the mother of my donor. Without her and decisions made by her and her family, I would not be sitting here today. This is this week on the 26th was my 2-year anniversary. Last year we had the nurses on. We had a good time with them, but we since that episode, me and my donor family have connected via the social medias, and we are actually talking to her today. So welcome to the show, Lisa.
Hey, it's good to be here. How you doing, guys?
Doing great. So you're down in you live down in southern Georgia, and I guess you're up in the Hotlanta area doing some Walking Dead tour, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. We actually we got to see Rick's house when we first got here. The first house from first season.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. We were a little bit nervous though because some people have bought the house since then, and I'm sure they get looky-loos all the time. So we were trying to hurry up and get our pictures and get out of there before the law was called.
I don't know where we want to take the story, so I'll let you lead the interview here because you guys are very special to me, and I don't want to do anything that would cause any disrespect to you and your amazing story. So I guess let's start with my donor Jamie and your son. Tell me a little bit about him, because people hear my story all the time, but a lot of times they don't get to hear the side of the donor family, and they don't get to hear a story of the donor a lot. So I want you to tell me about Jamie, an amazing person he was.
All right. Well, let's see where to begin with that guy. He was he was an amazing guy. He's like what I like to call my gypsy guy. I mean, he just he had a home, but he just chose to go and be around different people, and he was just real open to other cultures and other languages. Before he passed away, he could actually speak. He taught himself fluent sign language. He was speaking and reading Sanskrit, spoke fluent Spanish, and could actually sing in Spanish and all. And we teased him and tell him he was Mexican all the time because he just... even the Mexicans friends that he introduced me to would be like, yeah, he speaks really good English. Really good Spanish. But he was just a great guy and musically inclined. He could play any instrument, and that's no exaggeration. I gave him a cello that someone gave me, and within 3 days he called me and he's like, "Listen to this, Mom," and he's playing the cello. So he was just an all-around amazing guy and funny, and just really light in our life. Now, he got on my nerves. I'm not going to sit here and say he didn't get on my nerves sometimes.
Right.
But he's my son, and he's supposed to get on my nerves. But I don't know. He's just a great guy. I can't think of anything negative to say about him except he was a little hard-headed and didn't listen to his mother quite enough. But
that's most kids.
Other than that, right?
I'm still hard-headed with my mom, too, so I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got two surviving sons, Joey and Josh, and they're pretty level-headed and listen to their mom, when they need to, but they're grown men, so they don't really have to, so.
Right.
But yeah, he was great. He was my baby boy, my youngest child, and I always worried about him most of all because he, would do just random things. Like he started a new job and had been working there 2 weeks, and I saw him in town and I was like, "Hey son, what are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I'm going to Mexico tomorrow." And I said, "Jamie, go to work, son. Just go to work." And he said, "All right, Mom." So the next day he calls me. He's like, "Hey Mom, I'm in Mexico. Can you wire me $100?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Yeah." He said he lived like a king for $100 in Mexico for a while.
Just a pure nomad at heart, I guess.
Yeah, he hitchhiked here actually to Atlanta with one of his best friends, Jeremy. I think I've talked to you about Jeremy, but yeah, he hitchhiked here and he went missing, and I'm like close to calling the cops looking for him, and he gives me a call and he's like, "Hey, we're living on cardboard boxes in the streets of Atlanta in Little 5 Points, and it's great." And so nothing was a surprise with him. He was always he was random, very random guy.
For the younger generation that's listening, hitchhiking was a thing that we used to do that you don't want to do anymore. That's where you'd hold out your thumb on the side of the road, hoping a stranger that's not an axe murderer would show up and give you a free ride.
It was a pre-Uber.
It was like a free pre-Uber before the app.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's a surprise Uber.
Yeah, that's right. It's like one of those surprise blind bags that the kids like now. You open, you don't know which character you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get like Pikachu or Jeffrey Dahmer.
Surprise! You get a ride or you die. One or the other.
A warning for any young listeners: don't try that at home or on the road or anywhere. Don't do it.
Yeah,
for the professionals.
Anything else you want to share about Jamie?
I actually think that Brandon, you and Jamie would have been quite good friends because he was also a little bit of a chef guy too. And when I first got home, one of the first things that LifeShare did, which is my life, the transplant organization I worked with, and they actually sent me this packet with letters from you guys. Like it wasn't actually letters from you, but it was little notes that you guys had said. And I noticed the first thing I noticed was Brandon is something about one of the first letters he actually wrote me himself. He said that he was a chef, and I was just tickled about that. I was like, all right, Jamie would be proud.
Well, we like to eat.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Here in the South, we like to eat.
Yeah.
Oh, Jamie was an eater too, and I believe he had a hollow leg because he never gained weight.
Hollow leg for our northern listeners means you have a cavity there in your leg where you just store food for the I guess winter.
Listen,
yeah, because it does. Yeah, exactly.
Those people drive me up the wall. I'll look at a Twinkie and I'll gain 20 pounds. Y'all kill me.
Oh man, I know too. The high metabolism. Like, where can I buy that metabolism?
That's
You're
right
about that.
That's right. So, as a parent myself, I cannot imagine getting the call about my kid and rushing up to the hospital because you were some distance away from.
Oh my gosh, it was 8 hours away.
Yeah, you were some distance, so that I could not imagine the I'm a overthinker, so I would be overthinking that for 8 hours.
Well, I'm smart enough to know, not that you're not smart or anybody else isn't smart, but I'm smart enough to know not to make any assumptions about what's going on up there. When they gave us the call, they didn't tell us anything except that he was injured. They didn't really give us any specifics, and I didn't ask for a reason, because I just wanted to just compartmentalize. I wanted to just focus on the trip, getting everybody there safely and assessing the situation when I got there. And I mean, we had 2 carloads of people go. So we had as soon as I got the call, I made the call to my oldest son and then my middle son. Joey's the oldest and Josh is the middle. And they immediately, with their wives and my son's brother-in-law, they kind of convened on the house, and we got a plan, and we got out of there the next morning. I did call, and they were like, you need to hurry, because we were talking about leaving the next day, trying to get funds together and all, and they were like, you need to come as soon as possible. So what I did, Actually, it's crazy. You'll just humor in our family is widespread, and we just kind of just kind of, I guess, pretended it wasn't happening when we could. Just kind of occupy our minds with other things. And one of the things I remember is that I just called the hospital every 30 minutes to just ask if there was any change in his condition. I didn't ask if he was worse or better. I just wanted to know, I just wanted to make sure he was still there. I didn't want him to pass away before I got there. But one of the interesting things is when I called my oldest son, he had said exactly the thought that ran through my mind when I got the call: God's will be done. I wanted God's will above all to be done, more than mine. The mother in me wants my child to be okay.
Right.
But the Christian person in me knows that sometimes death is not the worst possible scenario. And I just wanted his will to be done. And when I called Joey, he was like, God's will be done. And I was just like, it set in my mind, I'll never forget that. And
wow.
A lot of it was a blur, but I kind of switched on autopilot once I got to the hospital, and then I became very clinical about it. I wanted to know, how long he'd been without oxygen, and what, just specifics of the situation.
Sure.
Then, and I had a really wonderful nurse. I don't know if she's listening. She may be, but her name was Kirsten, and she had a British accent, which immediately calmed me down because I love the Brits. And
who doesn't, right?
Right. And she was just very, very compassionate. She had a great bedside manner. She was very, empathetic to my situation. She had 3 sons herself, so she immediately connected with me on that level, and she explained every single thing that she did and knew, that was going on. She kind of prepared me for what I already knew and what the doctors eventually told us. She kind of told me, well, this is what's happening. This body temperature kept fluctuating, just things like that. So, and my life share team was great. We really didn't have to do anything except make decisions, and which in itself is a lot. We didn't have to worry about where we were sleeping. We didn't have to worry about what we were eating. They gave us free coffee. So, that was amazing because none of us slept. And we joked in the room with Jamie, and they let us play heavy metal music for him. And, we said our goodbyes. I got some clippings from his hair, which probably would have made him quite angry because we gapped his hair up. But and the nurse, she had changed shifts before I got to go back in there to tell her bye for my last night there, and she had taken his handprints for me. So we have his handprints and a small little video clip she took of his heart beating on the I guess the sonogram, or what do you call it, Brandon, when they
ultrasound echo? Yeah, Doppler. There's several ones. Yeah.
I thought it was just really sweet. Everybody treated us so great that, other than losing my child, which was absolutely devastating.
Sure.
I didn't have all that other stuff to have to deal with. And I just, that hospital made the worst situation of my life bearable to get through, and they walked me through everything. And here we are.
Right.
I know Joey did find you, and we kind of, broke protocol there doing that, but I'm glad that he did, because Brandon and I have developed quite a friendship.
Well, I with my second letter, I kind of was hoping somebody would break protocol because.
Oh yeah, your second letter actually gave us everything we needed to find you. So thank you for your breadcrumbs there.
Yeah, so Colonel Mustard did murder with the candlestick in the library.
By the way, here's my Facebook profile.
He didn't. My 2 sons didn't really they weren't ready for that, and they just really didn't want to, be a part of that. And I was just staying the night with Joey one night, and I was like, dude, you really need to read these letters, because knowing Brandon, and actually when I signed the papers for the transplant or for the donation or whatever, I had a little conversation with God while I was doing it, and I was like, Lord, I really want to meet hear from all the recipients, but the one I was most interested to hear from was the heart recipient. So I thought it was really amazing that you were the first person, the only person. I have not heard from the other ones at all, but you were the first and only recipient to contact me. So I just feel like God gave me that gift as well, and that in itself has been instrumental, just having a friendship with you and being able to talk to you, you know, and get to know you, and you share, you know, our life, and us share yours. And, you know, my grandson, Jamie, left behind a son, Salem, and his mother's with me. Actually, that's who I'm in Atlanta with, his mother and his stepfather.
Say hi, Jessica.
Hi.
Yeah, she sounds like quiet.
She's a mighty mouse.
I doubt when you get mad at your husband, you're that meek.
I told her, I was like, I bet your children never have to. I couldn't imagine her yelling at her children. Like, they would just like, "What'd you say, Mom?"
That's right. That's right.
But her husband, I have to add, Victor is his name, and it's his family we're here with now, and he is just an amazing guy. Like, I tell everybody he's my son-in-law, and he's married to my daughter-in-law. So go figure that one out, guys.
That's all right. That's all right.
But he's a great dad. He's just a super dad, and they share their life with me too. And there's just a lot of healing stuff that goes on that, you know, helps the loss bearable. You know, I mean, some days are bad, you know, but most every day is wonderful. He passed away actually clinically on the 24th, so we've officially had our second annual Jamie Day.
Nice.
It is an official holiday in our family where we get together and we cook food and we, you know, drink a toast or 2 or 12 to him, and, and we just have a great time. And so sometime during the midway there to that day, I found myself excited about this day, and I think that's just a wonderful turn of events, because instead of dreading that day and being sad, we get to celebrate and get family together, and just in honor of him. And that's really all we try to do, is honor him. Jessica, she honors his wishes. Jamie really wanted his son to learn other languages, and I mean, this kid takes a Spanish class every week. His stepfather is you know, Hispanic, and his mom's teaching. He just started karate, so he's learning Korean.
Nice.
Wow.
So it's just really amazing. There's just a lot of things that God left here. He didn't, you know, leave me with nothing. And I know I'll see Jamie again at some point when I'm ready, you know, when God's ready for me. But
sure.
Yeah, it's been a journey. It's been an amazing journey. And I say amazing because I've seen more of God's mercy than I have in my entire life during this time, you know, and it's just amazing. You would never think that you could say that, but I just really have. I mean, I learn new things about myself every day. Number one, I'm a soldier. If I can survive this, there's really not a whole lot that life can throw at me that I don't think I can handle. I believe I can take it on.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, Lisa, you're probably in my top 5 strongest women I've ever met in my life. So
oh wow! I mean, the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Like I said, I cannot. You never want to imagine that, but you know, as a parent, you do kind of wonder, you know, how you would react if God forbid something like this happens. But you've inspired me. I know you're going to inspire some listeners out there that have, you know, some issues on their plate. People that also may be facing this in the future. They'll remember this episode and realize that. Just to show how fortunate I am to know my donor family, less than 7% of transplant recipients will ever meet their donor family.
Wow.
Now, obviously, in some cases, the donor family doesn't want contact,
sure,
but also the recipient family may not want contact. Which as a recipient, I could not imagine that. I remember laying there in the hospital the day we got the call, wondering my next steps of how I would write a letter of gratitude, but also consolation at the same time to my donor family, because we're in 2 parts of the world here, or states, or East Coast,
right?
And as I'm celebrating the potential of living, you know, they're having to deal with something that, as a parent, I would know I would break down also. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, I have a lot of people came to me and they're like, I couldn't imagine. But I try to tell them, yeah, you really can if you're a parent, because there's not you're once you're a parent, as you know, you're on constant worry about your kid, you know, like I used to watch, you know, programs where kids were kidnapped or see a kidnapped missing child poster. And I would just be like, you know, it would hurt me to think about my children being gone, like I could physically feel that pain. So in a way you may not know specifically, and I wish nobody knew what it felt like, but you kind of do, you kind of get the idea. And, but it's a tough thing. It really is. There's just really no one way to do it, so if I had one piece of advice for anybody that has recently lost a child, I would just say, well, number one, if you're a Christian, you're going to need God, because you just really are. I mean, he was instrumental in me being alive. But I would also say just let people help you and do things for you. And you just got to stay busy too, so find something else to do. Let people do some things for you and celebrate their day. I mean, we celebrate twice a year. So Jamie gets 2 holidays. He gets his birthday. We do the same thing on his birthday. So, and that helps. I'm telling you, I literally look forward to these days instead of, dreading it, and being sad about it. I just want to remember his life. I can grieve 363 days of the year. Those 2 days, it's joy. It's straight joy.
Wow. As people of faith, we understand. And while Brandon was at the hospital, my wife and I were also there trying to...
They brought me hot sauce.
We brought hot sauce and Chick-fil-A and all kinds of yummy, delicious
dry shampoo.
That was in magazines. But you can't help but think about the death and resurrection. And we've been going through Southern Fried Lent, and just...
I've been watching. I'm a huge fan of the show.
Awesome. Well, you can, you just can't help but think, that God also gave up his son. And so that we can have life. So there is that correlation with that. Lisa, how did that conversation kind of maybe come up of he wanted to be a donor?
That's a very interesting question, actually. Jamie was a Muslim, so I wasn't really prepared for that because I didn't know. I know more now than I did then, but I wasn't really aware of the procedures or what they allow or whatever. And that was one of the things that my advocates there did. They found an imam at a Muslim temple to explain some things to me. But what sold it for me is that I know how Jamie feels about donor. We're all organ donors in our family. And my son Josh went to go get his ID, and he didn't sign the donor card. And Jamie was with him, and Jamie just gave him a just told him off. He's like, what are you going to do with that stuff when you die? Give it up. But, so, of course, my son Josh is my more reserved, I won't say suspicious of people, but he's more cautious and all. And he just kind of looked at the live share people as like vultures, like, they just kind of swarmed us. But I knew that time was of the essence. And and I knew how he felt about it. And then the imam told me that absolutely they believe in donation because the tattoo, Jessica and I went and got a tattoo because Jamie wrote a letter that we read. We found after he died that it's been out on the internet for quite a while, come to find out, but it was Dear Humankind. And one of the first things he quotes in there is 1 Peter 4:8. Above all else, love each other because love covers a multitude of sins. And then the second thing he quoted was from the Quran, which said, if a man, and I hope I say it correctly, I don't want to offend anybody, but if a person saves somebody's life, they've saved the entire world. So that's putting a lot of value on one person's life. If you save one, you've saved the world.
That was in the Quran, Surah 5, verse 32. And that's whoever saves a life it's like saving the whole world or humanity. So it's a beautiful verse. Yeah.
And we got those tattoos. Actually, Brandon, you saw it on social media, but we got the Dear Humankind. And I'll hashtag Dear Humankind. I'm not a huge hashtagger, but I will hashtag
hash browns.
Important things, and that's one of them because really. He says it in the letter. I walked through this world and I did bad things, and I walked through this world and done good things, and I've been a good person. I've been a bad person. It's in all of us. So it's just something I want to carry on. And we got inked up. Jessica got the Quran verse on her with a heartbeat from a monitor and 2 music symbols because he was a musician. But that's how it came up. I knew right away I wanted to do it, but I wanted to make sure that the only thing that Jamie informed me of was we were just having a casual conversation once talking on the phone, and then we got off the phone, and he shot me a text, just a random text, and he's like, "Look, Mom, if I ever die before you, make sure that I'm buried Islamically, no embalming." Well, there's a lot of things that have to be done to bury someone Islamically, and there were just things I just could not comply with. My 2 older sons would have had to bathe Jamie 3 times after transplant, organ removal, and after autopsy, and I couldn't put my kids through that.
Yeah.
And the other thing was he would have to be buried where he died, and I could not leave my child there.
Yeah.
I couldn't. But we did honor the no embalming because we had him cremated, so they don't embalm people before they cremate. So it's a good midway, and I tell Jamie all the time, I'm like, "Look, dude, if you wanted it differently, you should stick around and tell me more."
Wow.
Well, it was an easy decision. That was probably the easiest decision I made up there, was the donation thing, and I don't regret any of that. Absolutely don't. And I encourage anybody out there listening, donate your organs. You're not going to use them, but donate life, because Brandon has got more time with his family. Your loved one's gone anyway. They're gone. There's nothing them organs are going to do except save somebody's life. And my son's a hero now,
No doubt. I can't express to you how much I love this man that sits across the table from me. That man, he's a best friend of mine, and without Jamie,
both of you guys are going to make me cry here in a second.
Without him, I wouldn't be in the studio. So and I've also signed my donor card as well. That whatever they can take out. All 500 pounds. If somebody needs some lard, I got some ready to donate. But
I'll donate the fat now. I don't have to wait till I'm gone. They can have that now.
But honestly, please, if you're listening to the show and you have not done that, please make sure you donate your organs. Like she's just said, you do not need them, and you're gonna bring life to where there's death. So please do that, please.
And I tell everybody when I have quite an opportunity to share my story with a lot of people, just because the subject comes up. But like I tell people, I am just the vessel carrying Jamie's heart.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I think it really aided my recovery was you giving me permission to call it my heart too, because I struggled with that for about a year until we met, and that was probably the only thing holding me back, is I felt guilty. I felt.
Well, can I ask you? Well, you just said it. You just answered my question. I was fixing to ask you, because one of the things they did was counsel me, that the recipients, some recipients, have survivor's guilt, and it's just really painful for them to even, they in other words, they were telling me that we may never hear from anybody, not to count on it. And then there's been a lot of negative things happen. I did read some things, where, there was an instance where a lady, she found out where her son's recipient was, and every year on his birthday, she would show up unannounced at his house and things like that. So there's protocols for a reason, but
right.
I just didn't, I don't, I'm not encouraging breaking protocol, but time is of the essence, because eventually, they stop going to the transplant center, and that's the only way they're going to get the letters. Is that how you got the letter, Brandon? My first letter?
I was actually. Well, your first letter came. I think it was probably like a 3-month checkup. At first, you go for biopsies about every week, and then they spread out every other week, and your neck looks like you're 16 years old and just got a girlfriend at the football game, and she's giving you hickeys. So. But yeah, I was there for one of my routine biopsies, and the social worker came in excited, say, you got a letter back. So I guess that was odd, because obviously only 7% even hear, or actually, I'm sorry, less than 20% ever hear back from the donor family, and for 7% to actually connect. But yeah, I read that. I couldn't read the letter there because I'm an emotional person, period, just because I love life and I love people.
Compassion.
Well, yeah, I guess maybe, but I was also hopped up on prednisone at the moment. So, I would watch a commercial like it could be a Long John Silver's commercial, and I would break out in tears because I'm like, man, those chicken planks look delicious. I mean, I would break out in tears.
Delicious, by the way.
But so I waited till I got home. I had to lock myself in a room, and I read it, and I'm telling you, I cried. It was probably like at the birth of my kids. I mean, I cried my little eyes out. So I actually
I remember getting your first letter, and I just can tell you, I made everybody sit down and let me read it to them. I was like, you gotta hear this. And I cried every time. I was like, I probably read it and cried 100 times. So
yeah,
I was just really excited to get it. It was just like, it was just very impactful. And look where we're at now. I just love it that I can shoot you a text through the day and be like, hey, Brandon, what's up?
That's right.
You text me back, and it's just really cool like that.
Yeah, but I finally shared the letter with my wife, and of course, that was Tear City, and then me watching her made me cry again, and then
that'll always do it.
I sent you a copy, didn't I? I didn't.
Did not.
I think I sent a copy to my parents, just because they helped out with the kids and stuff, but in fact, I'll send you a copy if I. Yeah. You don't mind if I send JT a copy?
Absolutely not. Heck
So
no.
I'll send you a copy of her letter.
I put a lot of heart into that letter.
I'm sure you
Get
did.
some miles out of it.
No pun intended. But that was the writing that letter. I probably erased. At the time I couldn't hold a pencil because my hands shook so bad. So that's the reason why.
You did mention that. You said that the medications and stuff you were on.
I typed that letter out on my phone probably 100 times, and I don't care. I could probably write 100 more and never write it. What's that?
Why did you use a phone? Why didn't you just use a laptop?
Because I couldn't even punch. My hands were so weak. And trust me, when I typed a letter, it probably took me 3 hours to type it because I had to do one finger at a time.
Wow.
But I don't care if I wrote that letter today. I could never come up with the words to ever.
I loved your letter, and I knew you because one of the first things you were telling me is that I don't want to misquote you, but you were telling me that Larkin was a
alien.
No, some kind of superhero ninja. Oh gosh, I can't remember what you told me, but it was just hilarious. You said, "Who am I to tell her she's not?" She's a princess, superhero, something. It was just really like I was just laughing and crying and laughing. It was a pretty amazing letter. You could tell. I couldn't write mine again either, and I actually had my best friend who's a pastor also. I asked him to pray over my letter too. You know, that it would get in your hands and that it would express the. I just wanted you to know we were okay. I don't know if that came across in the letter.
No, I absolutely did. It that was the first moment I got to breathe. Like a full sigh of relief, because I wouldn't say I had like the guilt I had guilt, survivor's guilt, but not to the point where I couldn't get up and move during the day, because every day I took life by the cojones, and I tried to push forward as much as possible. And I was just grateful for the chance to even breathe air. I mean, I remember waking up after transplant, my wife standing over me. And at first I thought it was a nightmare, but then I realized I was awake. But you just never know. She could be standing over you with a pan or a knife. But but I remember taking that after my wife says, you did it, or we did it. I remember taking that first gulp of air and just it being the sweetest breath I've ever taken. So I try to approach every morning that way when I wake up, because literally I know people have problems. Everybody has problems. I mean, some of us financially, some of us physically, some of us mentally, some of us spiritually. But if you wake up every morning, that's the hardest part of the day. The rest of it, you have an opportunity to fix. So,
unless you have a CPAP and that clogs up, then that's a problem. I've had that before.
I remember you telling me a story about you picking up your motorcycle.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, is this guy just trying to just kill me right now? It was just so sweet. You told me you wondered if your donor had ever, done that. And you do that a lot. You honor Jamie a lot. And I'm going to tell you, it's just touching. Every time you tell me, guess what me and Jamie did today, or, stuff like that. It's like, it's just a gift. Yeah. And even the days when it hurts to be here, it's still a gift.
Yeah.
And if we can just see that, even in the bad stuff, like I believe that everything is a season. And, if you can just appreciate that first breath in the morning, getting up, the rest of the day is gravy.
That's right.
Lisa, I will say, and he's not paying me to say this, but he does honor Jamie just in regular talking. We'll, be doing something and he'll mention Jamie. So it's not it's not just a you thing. He does it to everybody else as well.
Well, that's why I believe that, and I believe he honors Jamie, like truly honors Jamie. And I'm just tell you, I couldn't be prouder if Brandon, I just appreciate you doing that. The whole family does. Jessica does. We talk about it all the time. Jessica's actually one of my closest friends. We were actually close before Jamie passed away, and she's just absolutely made me a part of Salem's life. And she supported me the whole way, and it was hard on her too. She was pretty. We all were, but she honors Jamie too. And just to see all the people that do honor him, man, that's a gift too. It's like I'm stacking treasures over here. These guys, all you guys doing stuff to honor my kid.
Yeah,
he'd be really happy.
Couldn't pick a better person to have.
Well,
yeah.
There's probably a few other better people out there, but I appreciate it. And just to let everyone know, this is actually of course by the time this podcast is posted, but this is Donate Life Month. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
I did not know that either.
But also just some interesting statistics, because I like statistics. Right now, there's currently 114,753 people waiting for an organ transplant right now.
Oh, wow.
2,977 just in the state of North Carolina. So this is something that we should not have a problem.
Yeah.
There should be an overabundance. Just like when there's a tragic event and people start lining up for blood.
Yeah.
This should be a normal thing.
Yeah.
It really should.
I can't even believe at this stage in life where we on social media, every day is a crisis for humanity. You know what I'm saying?
Or to stop eating Tide Pods.
That too. I don't know if I want an organ from a Tide Pod either. But with everything on social media is something to do with humanity. Well, love your neighbor.
Yeah.
Do something simple. Make sure you sign that document and it shows that little heart on your ID or your driver's license, because you changed my life.
Yeah.
I mean, you can change another person's life somewhere else. I mean, and as
can I say this? I do know, like I've talked to people. I've got friends that they're just not going to do it. They're just for whatever reason. And one of the things what I'm told me, which is a complete. I just want it clear in case somebody stops listening in the middle of what I say. This is false. This is false. But they were told that if you are in an accident and a paramedic comes to help you and they see you're a donor, they're not going to try to work on you and save you. And that's just complete hogwash, because even if your organs are going to be viable, they have to keep your body alive. So they're not going to let you die out there just because you're an organ donor, just so they can get your organs. That's just fault.
Yeah. And honestly, I thought that for a while too. And then obviously I actually did some reading and realized that's not the case.
That's all you got to do is just get educated. If you don't know out there, listeners, if you don't know, look it up, find out what it involves and educate yourself, because that's the best weapon is educating yourself. And I did all kinds of reading. I know, all kinds of stuff that I didn't know before that, really amazed me. And I use it to help other people, try to talk other people into being organ donors, because it's just so important. Sure. It's so important.
So since our paths have intertwined, so I know you started a Facebook support group.
I have.
And tell us a little bit about that and where people can find you, because that's also another topic that's close to a lot of people I know.
Yes, it is. Jamie actually committed suicide, and so it's really important to me to make awareness of that. Like, I know people kill themselves, but I want people to know that there is hope out there. It's not, you're not alone in there's times over my lifetime that I've thought, man, I just don't want to be here. I just don't want to be here. And by the time I was 13, I actually attempted suicide 3 different times, and almost successfully with an overdose. I had some bad stuff going on at home, and just, mental disorders, I don't have a mental disorder, but I was depressed, and I wasn't aware of what depression was. But so my group that I started was There's Hope, Suicide Support and Awareness Group. I wanted it to be awareness for suicide, but my group is really where people can either talk about their loved ones and that have committed suicide, which I don't even died by suicide, I guess. I don't know the proper term for it. And also for people that are thinking about it. My page doesn't stay active a lot in that people don't post stuff a whole lot. I'll post some, supportive things and let people know we're there, but I always post every so often that I have 4 or 5 administrators. We're constantly watching this page, if you need somebody, if you want to private inboxes, that's fine. My door is open, because there's just a lot of people that, that just wake up and just think nobody cares about them. And then I've seen people die and see tons of people show up at their funeral. Like, there's a gap there. Why did they not know that all these people cared about them? So I just want to try to reach out. My group is, I've got, I think, close to over 200 members now. So, and it's still climbing. I do get some texts and phone calls, and I have had a situation. I'm not a certified counselor at all, but I know people that are, and I have I'll refer you, to something. But it's on Facebook. It's the yellow and gray ribbon, and it's just There Is Hope. All you got to do is type in "there is" and it pops up. There's hope. But it's just my way of trying to honor Jamie. Jamie was my second suicide in my family. My older brother committed suicide. So dealing with that aspect, that was one of the things that I didn't have to actually deal with when Jamie passed away, was the suicide aspect of it, because I'd already been through it. So I didn't have the questions, that I had then, because I'd done countless research on it, and I've talked to people, and then I had my own experiences to go by. I'm really proud of the group. It's not quite taken off where I want it to go yet, but I think everything is in due time. It is it happens the way it's supposed to happen. And but I'm just looking forward to that. If anybody's listening out there, I'm a talker, obviously.
We'll share it on our Facebook page too.
More importantly, I'm a listener, and I will listen to whatever you want to talk about. I mean, you're not alone out there. You're absolutely not alone, because I know perfect strangers that have love and compassion for people they've never met. So there is somebody out there that cares about you, and you should definitely reach out. They've got a suicide hotline, and if I'd have thought about it, I'd have got those numbers for you, Brandon. Somebody Google. They now have a text hotline you can text, and I don't want to misquote the numbers. It's just 6 numbers, the 3 numbers twice, the same number. Is it like 422?
Well, there's an 800 number, is 1-800-273-8255. That is the National Suicide Prevention Line. There's also, you can tweet at 800-273-TALK on Twitter, and I'm trying to find the text line right now.
And we will find that and put it on our page under the show notes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, let's do that, because a lot of people don't want to call a stranger and talk to them. A lot of people feel more comfortable texting than they do talking on the phone. So you can text, you can tweet. These are things that people do every day. And we actually tested the text number, and we told them when they responded back to us that we were not suicidal or having thoughts. We were just testing them out to see if it was real, because I didn't want to support something unless I knew for a fact that these people were actually going to help you. And one of my friends actually used this number, and these people helped them look up jobs. They were talking about, how can we help you? And she was like, I need a job. And they actually texted her all this information about jobs in her area, which was pretty amazing, and we need more of that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, this has been a long time coming. I'm breathless and blown away right now, so, which is an oddity.
I can't wait to meet you. I can. I know it. That too is on. It's everything in its time. But when I do, maybe next time we do an interview, I can be sitting in the studio with you guys.
Nice. Yeah, I would love that.
No,
I want
absolutely.
my 5 seconds of fame.
Absolutely. Once again, that Facebook page is called There Is Hope Suicide Awareness Support Group. It is a closed group, but if you send a request, I'm sure Lisa will approve you or whoever administrator.
Absolutely.
And you can go there. If you don't personally need it, you know someone who does, please share that along. They'll get you to the right resources. But you're talking to someone who's a survivor, but also has been on the other end of it too.
Both times.
Yeah. So, if you need that help, please go there. But once again, I wanted to have someone special on this year for my second year anniversary here. Selfishly, I know I kind of hijacked the podcast but thank you for coming on. This has been a blessing to us, or blessing to me especially, and I really do appreciate that. And I'm so thankful for Jamie, you, and your family every day. And I'm here for my kids, here for my wife. I'm here to pester her for a few more years.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's right. I get to love strangers. I get to love on friends and family that are around me. I get to make someone's day. I get to breathe fresh air. I get to make new memories. So all I can say is thank you, and I love you for that. And that is from the inside the gut, not just on surface. So,
right. You're welcome, and thank you for being willing to share your life with us. Because if you were over on that side, not wanting anything to do with us, that'd be terrible for us. But
I understand.
It worked out, and I thank you. Thank you, and thank you for taking care of that heart and honoring my son. Well, thank you for having me on the show too.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. I listen to you guys all the time, and I love your show. I really do.
Well, thank you.
I'm not just saying that. I do listen.
Well, good.
And I love it.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on, and we'll be talking to you soon. Okay.
All right, Brandon.
All right.
Text me later, bro.
I will. Thank you. Now.
All right, JT. Take care of yourself, man.
You too. Bye now.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, I think I may need a shot of whiskey now. So that's been an interview that I've wanted to have, but just didn't. I wanted to have, but was nervous to have.
Yeah.
So
you did great.
There's no right questions to ask there, and luckily she is such a strong woman. So thank you for letting me do that this episode. So selfishly, but hey, I'm that kind of guy.
Yeah. Again, just please note that it is donor month, and I mean if you haven't signed those papers and got that card, please do that.
It's right. I think it's right above the "Are you a Republican or a Democrat? Or do you want to vote?"
Well, listen, I'll tell you this. I don't think that if you're a Republican, you're going to refuse a Democrat heart. So this is way more important than that.
No.
And then too, if you are dealing with suicide, please check out the show notes for the suicide hotline and for the texts and the Twitters and things like that. So please reach out to them. And you can always email us at sfpradio@gmail.com if you have any questions or going through some stuff. So
absolutely.
There we go. All right.
Well, thanks for tuning in once again, everyone. Please go to our iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. You can go there, subscribe. You can also share episodes. Hopefully you'll share this episode because it's
no doubt.
I think anytime we're dealing with this topic is a good topic. You can also go to our Facebook and follow us at Southern Fried Philosophy, our Twitters and Instagram at SFP Radio, also on the YouTubes at youtube.com/SFP Radio.
All right, and as always, keep looking up.